Hey guys, this is Dan Sullivan. I think it's the 1st of October. I hadn't planned on doing a video today, but I've had this kind of notion rolling around in my head for a while, and I wasn't quite sure how to handle it. And then today, just out of the blue, I got a couple of text messages from an instructor who has been using my training cards and who has been teaching out of my book and who teaches the LOADpro in his classes and is the person who understands the ghost voltage, zero voltage, low voltage diagnostic methodology, which I'm just going to say it now is a hell of a lot faster than using an ohm meter and a jumper wire, because it just is. So if you have an auto-ranging meter, manuals don't work that well, and you understand how to read ghost and zero voltage, which represent an open and a short to ground, and then you know how to push the button, which is all you have to do on the LOADpro, and then that will load the circuit, do an instantaneous voltage drop for 60, 70 bucks before the tariffs, of course. You get all three faults, because there are only three faults that occur in a single circuit, in a single wire. There's an open, broken wire, short to ground, positive touching negative, or something else touching negative, and corrosion or high resistance or whatever you want to call it. Typically corrosion or arcing or pitting or burning or whatever. Anyway, so those are the only three faults that occur in a single circuit, and the correct use of a voltmeter, which includes understanding that going to the ass end of whatever you're working on and reading voltage and ground in the connector that you unplugged, not putting the black lead to ground, not using a test light with a giant frickin' alligator clip on it. That's not how you diagnose. If you see voltage at the end of that circuit using the positive and the negative connections in the wire, that's a continuity test. Because all continuity means is not broken. Continuity doesn't mean ohms. Continuity doesn't mean ohm meter. All right? And for that matter, you don't need a stupid 100-foot long jumper wire when the vehicle's right in front of you. We can't use jumper wires on 747s. We use 1-foot jumper wires if we need them and jump from the circuit to the chassis or the fuselage or the wing. Go to the other end and then read there, because the fuselage and the wing both have continuity, right? So the first thing is you don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on jumper wires from tool trucks when the vehicle's right there in front of you and the vehicle is a jumper wire. Okay, so here's what happened today. For a long time, I've been tolerating, putting up with, enduring, stomaching a lot of people who really didn't have a frickin' clue what they were talking about, and who now, as it turns out, as was explained to me by someone who's a good friend of mine, who all have something to lose if I'm right, who don't work on what I work on, namely 400-ton trucks, dragline cranes, cruise ships, locomotives, underground mining equipment from Europe, right? So the people who are out there sort of slamming me, quite frankly, don't understand that I can put 70 Toyotas in the bed of one of my trucks. And I use 16-foot ladders and 16-foot work stands to climb up into an engine compartment bigger than a Volvo. So that's not to say that people who work on Toyotas and Volvos don't know what they're doing, because that's not what I would say as a coach or a teacher. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, you got to walk a mile in my steel toes. And if you don't have one of these that you've earned over 30 years of doing this work, then you need to just kind of back off, right? Because here's what happened today, as I was leading to. This instructor sent me a text of a student at a computer on the Cummins Quick Serve site. And lo and behold, what was on the Cummins Quick Serve site? Not a power probe, not a test light, not the snap-on version of this with a little voltmeter in the handle, but this. This is what's in the Cummins quick serve data. Oh yeah, and he also sent me a video of another kid on the computer on the Caterpillar sys with this, okay? So here's the 120 volt version that's being used by airlines. This is a 28 volt version that works for all of our low voltage stuff. There's also a 48 volt version for lift trucks. And I'm just going to go on the record saying that if you want to trust guys who shoot videos and post them on YouTube talking about ways to work around voltage drop, to get to a voltage drop, these backwards left-handed, left field ways of coming in the back door to do a voltage drop by using a test light or doing, or if you see a guy who decides to teach you how to build this tool, well, the patent has expired, and yes, there is a patent right there. U.S. Patent 6356853. There it is, okay? So whoever you want to believe them, all right? But if you're going to believe guys who don't have a patent for a tool that had never been invented before, that has been adopted by Volvo and UPS and Caterpillar and Cummins, and is in use by the U.S. Army, and is in use by Hawaiian Airlines, and Southwest Airlines, and Boeing, and any number of other companies that have it in their systems and in their shops. If you want to believe guys who are telling you that I'm an idiot and a moron and a dumbass for making it possible to do an instantaneous voltage drop with the push of a button for less than $100 that works with any voltmeter at all, then you feel free to listen to those guys, okay? But I'm just tired of it, and I need to get this off my chest. Haters can go screw themselves, right? The bottom line is this. Voltage is the horsepower that makes the only load in the circuit work. The only load in the circuit, and yes, there's only one load per circuit, period, because marker lights are not loads in a circuit, they're circuits in a system. Okay, 20 marker lights is not 20 lights in a circuit. And just FYI, all of these online schematic systems that teach you that the whole air conditioning system is a circuit, they're wrong. It's multiple circuits in a system. It's not a circuit, it's circuits in a system. It's just a fact, okay? Now, take that however you want. But the bottom line is, the voltage is the horsepower that makes the only load in the circuit work. That load should use 100% of that power. If you read voltage, you're only getting 2 indications of a fault. And if you understand it, it means that you understand that seeing voltage means you don't have an open or short to ground. It's a continuity test. You immediately rule out opens and shorts to grounds if you see source voltage. Done. Off the table. Done. Then you load the circuit by doing this. That's it. By the way, there's no magic to this. I didn't invent voltage drop. I don't care what all these idiots out there are saying. All these people who do these scientific studies and scientific evaluations and all of this harsh rhetoric that basically kicking me while I'm down, which is really mature. And if the voltage stays the same and doesn't change, then the circuit hasn't failed. It's very simple. Very, very simple. If the circuit passes and does not have any one of the 3 faults in it, it has to be the component. If the circuit fails by being open, shorted, or corroded, then we don't buy a part, right? Right? You will always make more money on labor than you will ever make on parts. So if you think you're going to make a bunch of money by swapping a bunch of parts out, you don't understand percentages. Because even 20% on a $200 part is only 40 bucks, and an hour of labor is 160. So if you're willing to take a $40, you're willing to make 40 bucks over 160, then I don't think you're thinking the problem through properly. So this is really simple. A whole bunch of really important engine manufacturers and equipment manufacturers have decided that they like this. It saves them time and it saves them money and warranty claims, because if the circuit has failed, this will find it with a voltmeter and your knowledge of how to use the voltmeter. Your choice, man. Your choice. Best I can do for you is just hope that in the end you understand voltage drop and you decide to use it however you choose to use it. I don't care. It doesn't affect me one way or the other, okay? But if you're on board with these guys who are attacking me without knowing what this tool does, then you're not being very smart, because if you really want to do beat flat rate, if you really want to beat flat rate, and you want to make money, then you need to get the answer quickly, and chasing your tail on an improperly read voltmeter is a really, really good way to lose your shirt. So, haters be damned. I did what I did, and a lot of very important people seem to think that what I did matters.